Welcome to KMUZ Theater Talk. I'm your host, Ed Shopes. KMUZ Theater Talk comes your way the first and third Fridays of the month with news and in-depth interviews about auditions and performances of plays and musicals running at theaters throughout the Mid-Willamette Valley. My guests today are actors Laura Davis and Cathy Willoughby from the fun comedy Drinking Habits, running April 11th through 27th at Keizer Homegrown Theatre. But first, let's dive into the KMUZ Theater Talk calendar for news about auditions and shows happening at your favorite Mid-Willamette Valley theaters. For the McMinnville and Newburgh area theaters, at Gallery Theater in downtown McMinnville, Roald Dahl's Willy Wonka, with music and lyrics by Leslie Bricusse and Anthony Newley, will run on Gallery Theater's main stage May 2nd through 25th. It's directed by Travis and Kalina Morgan. See Gallery's Facebook page for casting posts. For show information and tickets, go to gallerytheater.org. Penguin Productions in Newburgh is staging A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder through April 6th at the LaJoy Theater in the Chehalem Cultural Center in Newburgh. A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder is a hilarious, murderous romp filled with unforgettable music, nonstop laughs, and a scene-stealing role for one actor playing all 8 of the doomed Disquith family heirs who meet their ends in the most creative and side-splitting ways. For show information and tickets, go to the Penguins Onstage webpage. For the Greater Salem area theaters, at Bridgetown Conservatory, Salem, Make Me a Song, the music of William Finn, conceived by Rob Ruggiero, plays April 24th through 27th at the Verona Studio Theater in downtown Salem. Directed by Seth Rennie, the cast includes Nehemiah Creel, Stephanie Gibbs, Lance Nutman, and Beth Sobo-Turk, plus special appearances by Bridgetown Conservatory students. Get your tickets at simpletix.com. And see Bridgetown Salem's Facebook page and the bridgetownconservatory.org website to sign up for triple threat classes and auditions and for show information and tickets. At Center Stage Theatrics in Salem, registration is open for the 4th year of Camp Center Stage, a week-long overnight theater camp for middle school through high school students. You can learn more about the summer theater camp on our KMUZ Theater Talk podcast interview with Matthew Voisin. To sign up for Camp Center Stage, go to centerstagetheatrics.org. At Children's Educational Theater, CET's popular 2025 summer program is now full for incoming 6th through 9th graders, but new registrations for those ages can still sign up to be added to a wait list at cetsalem.org. And there are still spots open for older kids. Classes start June 23rd and run through July 26th. Coming to Keizer Homegrown Theatre, Drinking Habits, a comedy by Tom Smith and directed by Jeff Minden, runs April 11th through 27th at KHT. Accusations, mistaken identities, and romances run wild in this laugh-out-loud farce. 2 nuns of the Sisters of Perpetual Sowing are secretly making wine to keep the convent's doors open. But Paul and Sally, reporters and former fiancés, are hot on their trail. They go undercover as a nun and priest, but the convent nuns think they are spies sent from Rome to shut them down. Both wine and secrets are inevitably spilled as everyone tries to save the convent and reconnect with lost loves. Cast members Laura Davis and Cathy Willoughby join me later in today's program to give us a peek behind the curtain of this fast-paced, very physical farce. For show information and tickets, go to KeizerHomegrownTheatre.org and their Facebook page. At Pinnacle Theater in Salem, on stage through April 12th at Pinnacle Theater is Big Fish, a beautiful musical based on the celebrated novel and film. It tells the heartwarming story of Edward Bloom, a traveling salesman with larger-than-life stories, and his son Will, who's determined to uncover the truth behind his father's epic tales. Check out the KMUZ Theater Talk podcast to hear a behind-the-curtain interview with director Jill Sorensen and actors Natalie Pate Gwynn and Noah Miller about this fanciful, large-cast musical. Big Fish is followed May 9th through 31st by The Glass Menagerie. That's a Tennessee Williams classic directed by Jeff Sanders. On the Pinnacle Theater call board, director Debbie Neal will hold auditions April 19th in Pentacle's upstairs auditorium for Black Comedy by playwright Peter Schaefer. That show runs June 27th through July 19th. Director Robert Sahlberg will also hold auditions April 19th in Pentacle's downstairs lobby for the musical Hairspray by O'Donnell, Meehan, and Shaman. That show runs August 15th through September 6th. And Joe Dodge's acting workshop for adults 18 and older meets on Saturdays at Pinnacle Theater's rehearsal studio in downtown Salem. See the pinnacletheater.org website and Facebook page for tickets, audition information, and to sign up for acting workshops. At Struts and Frets Theater Company in Rickreall, Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream plays September 4th through 6th at the River's Edge Amphitheater in downtown Independence. And on the Struts and Frets call board, auditions for A Midsummer Night's Dream are April 7th from 6:30 through 9:30 p.m. at the Dallas Event Center. See the Struts and Frets Facebook page for more information. Go to strutsandfretstheater.org to schedule your audition and reserve your tickets at eventbrite.com. The Theater 33 2025 New Plays Festival will once again be at Willamette University in Salem this summer. Theater 33 will soon announce its summer festival lineup and will bring that news to you as soon as we learn more. Watch theater33.org and their Facebook page for festival details. For the Staten and Silverton area theaters, at Brush Creek Playhouse in Silverton, the Brush Creek Players are celebrating 50 years of shows on their Little Red Schoolhouse stage with a 14-production season, the most in their long history. Much Ado About Notices is on stage now through April 20th at the Playhouse on Silverton Road. It's directed by Rayana O'Connor and Russell Oliveira Jr. Three male troubadours performing Shakespeare plays are the worst traveling troupe of players in England. They survive only by stealing the audience's purses. But their fortunes change when a woman passing as a man, horrors, replaces an actor after he literally breaks his neck. Hilarity ensues. Brush Creek is also updating its website. Take a peek at the new version through a link at brushcreekplayhouse.com. On the Brush Creek Playhouse call board, director Cade Miller is looking for a male actor to play multiple roles in Of Man and Mosquito, which runs May 2nd through 18th. For information, call or text 415-845-5242. Go to brushcreekplayhouse.com and Facebook for show, ticket, and audition information. Playing at Spotlight Community Theater in downtown Staten, Spotlight's Hearts on Stage, a formal fundraiser gala, happens April 5th at the United Methodist Church on Fern Ridge Road in Silverton. For show information, tickets, and audition details, go to spotlightct.com and Facebook. For the Albany and Corvallis area theaters, on stage at Albany Civic Theater, The Big 5-0 by Brian Mitchell is a hilarious and sometimes touching account of a man coming to terms with his age, his relationship with his son, and his future. It's directed by Scott Harvey and is on stage now through April 19th at Albany Civic Theater. On the Albany Civic Theater call board, auditions are coming up April 7th through 9th for the classic thriller Dial M for Murder, directed by Dan Bushong, Josh Mitchell, and Christy E. Sears. The show runs June 13th through 28th. And auditions are May 12th through 14th for Edward Albee's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, directed by Sarah Roth. For show information, tickets, and audition details, go to albanycivic.org and Facebook. At the Majestic Theater in downtown Corvallis, a Reader's Theater production of Becky, Nurse of Salem by playwright Sarah Rule happens April 26th and 27th at the Majestic Theater. It's directed by Robert Leff. This contemporary ensemble comedy centers on an ordinary but strong-willed grandmother just trying to get by. She's also the great granddaughter of Rebecca Nurse, who was infamously executed for witchcraft in 1692. Desperate to raise her troubled teenage granddaughter right and hoping to hook up with an old flame, Becky asks a local witch for help. But those spells and potions don't work out exactly as planned. After that, look for the classic musical My Fair Lady, running May 2nd through 18th at the Majestic Theater. And on the Majestic Theater call board, open auditions for Resurrection, a new play written and directed by Stephen Long, happen April 7th and 8th at the Majestic. Resurrection takes place at the onset of the COVID pandemic. 58-year-old Margaret Hartman has had early onset Alzheimer's for 14 years. She lives in a nursing home in Scarsdale, New York, when she gets COVID and ends up in the hospital on a ventilator. Her family fears the worst, but after several weeks, Margaret regains her strength, and when she's removed from the ventilator, she no longer has Alzheimer's. This change brings chaos to the relationships inside the family bubble. For show information, tickets, and audition details, go to majestic.org and Facebook. This summer's annual musical by the Mid-Valley Musical Theater in Albany is Walt Disney's Tarzan the Musical, with music by Phil Collins. Performances are August 7th through 16th. For show information and tickets, go to mvmtheater.org and Facebook. Mid-Valley Productions in Albany will present the complete works of William Shakespeare, abridged, revised, again, in partnership with NPC Productions. May 1st through 11th is directed by Jeremy Clubb. For show information, audition details, and tickets, go to midvalleyproductions.org and Facebook. For the Mid-Valley Colleges and Universities, Chemeketa Community College's Theater Under the Stars presents Disney's Mary Poppins, July 29th through August 7th at the Jerry Frank Amphitheater in Salem's Riverfront Park. The show is directed by Stephen Munshaw and choreographed by Christopher Dean. For more information, email smunshaw@chemeketa.edu or call 503-836-2266. At Western Oregon University in Monmouth, WOU's theater season winds up May 28th through 31st with Tiny Beautiful Things by Cheryl Strayed and Nina Verdalos. It's directed by Risa Fleming. For show information and tickets, go to the WOU.edu theater page or see their Facebook page. At Willamette University Theater in Salem, coming to the Pelton Theater April 11th through 26th is the final show of Willamette Theater season, Bloom, Bloom, Pow, a climate doom comedy inspired by 1950s monster movies and the real-life 2014 crisis in Toledo, Ohio, when the tap water became deadly to use. For show information and tickets, go to wutheater.com or see their Facebook page. At the Mid-Valley High Schools, Central High School in Independence is on Facebook and at chsperformingarts.net. Music of the Night, a performing arts fundraiser, cabaret, and auction, happens at Central High on April 25th. Dallas High School is at dhstheater.org and on Facebook at Dallas High School Thespians. And Then They Came for Me by playwright James Still will be on stage May 7th through 10th at the Dallas High Theater. And at the Salem area high schools, McKay High School is on Facebook at McKay Thespians, and McKay's spring show is Almost Maine. Watch their Facebook page for show information and performance dates. McNary High School is on Facebook at Ken Collins Theater. Peter and the Starcatcher is on the McNary High Stage May 14th through 17th. North Salem High School is at nshstheater.com and on Facebook at NSHS Theater. Paragon Springs, Stephen Dietz's vibrant and often funny reimagining of Henrik Ibsen's An Enemy of the People, puts the lure of capitalism and the greed of small-town self-interest squarely on trial. The show runs May 1st through 3rd at North Salem High School. And Failure, a love story by Philip Dawkins, comes to the North Salem High Stage May 22nd through 24th. Tuneful songs and a whimsical chorus follow the story of the three Fail sisters, Nellie, Jenny June, and Gertie, as they live out their lives above the family clock repair shop near the Chicago River before their time unexpectedly runs out. It's a magical musical fable where the power of love is far greater than anyone's successes or failures. And South Salem High School is on Facebook and Instagram at Saxon Drama. The spring show at South Salem High School is the classic courtroom drama 12 Angry Jurors, running May 15th through 17th. At Sprague High School, their Student One Act Festival happens May 15th through 17th. West Salem High School is at westsalemdrama.com and on Facebook at West Salem Drama Department. Shakespeare favorite Twelfth Night is coming to West Salem stage May 1st through 3rd. Twelfth Night is a comedy about a love triangle, requited and unrequited, romantic and familial, filled with illusion, deception, disguises, madness, and the extraordinary things that love will cause us to do and to see. And that's a wrap for today's KMUZ Theater Talk calendar for plays and auditions at your favorite theaters. If your Mid-Willamette Valley Theater has a play or audition coming up that's not on our calendar, please send it our way at kmuztheatertalk@gmail.com. Coming up after the break, I'll talk with actors Laura Davis and Cathy Willoughby from the fun farce Drinking Habits, running April 11th through 27th at Keizer Homegrown Theatre. We'll be right back after this. You know, KMUZ Theater Talk and KMUZ FM rely on the support of our listeners and sponsors. If you enjoy listening to KMUZ Theater Talk on your commercial-free community radio station, please go to kmuz.org today, click the Donate button, and don't forget to say that KMUZ Theater Talk sent you. And thanks a million for your support. I'm here with Laura Davis and Cathy Willoughby from the Keizer Homegrown Theatre production of a farce, a really fun farce called Drinking Habits. It's a comedy by Tim Smith and it's directed by Jeff Minden. It runs April 11th through 27th at Keizer Homegrown Theatre. And we're going to have a little fun with this interview. Welcome to KMUZ Theater Talk, Laura and Cathy.
Thank you, Ed. We're glad to be here.
Thank you, Ed. It's a pleasure.
So farces are fun, and this one sounds like a lot of fun. The first question I want to ask is, exactly how many doors are there on stage for this play?
Great question.
Yeah, we've got 5 different doors. The last production out there, Boeing, Boeing, we had 7. So this we've only got 5 this time. So
you're not using any of the exit doors to the theater at all, are you? I know that that's been done at Keizer before, that little backstage exit door.
Yeah, not a bit of it. We've got a great set builder who has put those doors in for us. Nate Pierce built the set and has designed that to work perfectly with all the purposes for this farce.
Tell our listeners, for those who may not be aware, why are there doors in a farce?
Well, I think that adds to the energy with a farce. There's a lot of quick entrance, exits, coming, going, hiding. So it really serves that purpose to get your character in and out. So it's a lot of fun.
And you never know where actors are coming in and out of the door. So I think that's a lot of fun for the audience as well. Cathy, can you give our listeners a little synopsis of what this show is about?
Absolutely. So this farce takes place in a convent, and it's a small convent run by the Sisters of Perpetual Sowing.
I love that. 2
of the nuns, there's only 3 of us at the beginning of the play. We are concerned about keeping the convent afloat. Our job as Sisters of Perpetual Sowing is to mend all of the holy robes that are sent in. And so we do that, but it doesn't bring quite enough money. And so Sister Augusta and Sister Philomena have a plan to make wine and sell it secretly because our Mother Superior is not a fan of alcohol. And so we do this secretly in order to keep the convent going. Well, what could go wrong with that? Keeping it a secret. And reporters come to the convent and they're trying to find out who is making wine that has been awarded a prize. And so they kind of get into the life of the convent. There's a lot of lies being told all around. And so it makes for a lot of mistaken identity and a lot of fun.
And what role are you playing, Cathy?
I play Sister Augusta. I am the bossier of the two, and I seem to always have a plan for getting out of the secret things that we're trying to keep and kind of boss Sister Philomena around a bit.
And Laura, what role are you playing?
Sister Philomena. So I'm a very nervous worrywart that is running around trying to hide everything, make everything work, and just trying to keep Mother Superior out of certain things unsuccessfully.
So when things start to go wrong, your character panics, and Cathy's character always has a good way of getting out of the jam, right?
That sums it up perfectly.
Laura's character can't lie. That's where the comedy comes in as well. So,
right, but it would be a sin.
It would be a sin. I don't know why my character doesn't have a problem with that sin, but there we go.
Because you're bossy, well, Sister Augusta.
I think that's the nature of the farce. So accusations, mistaken identities, and the play description also says romances run wild. Tell me a little bit about that, you guys. Do you have romantic interests as well?
We don't, but part of the mistaken identity adds to discovering certain romances. The great thing about this farce is each grouping of characters has their own hidden secrets. And as we share that with the audience, and as the audience continues to discover all of these different secrets, they're as much a part of the story and involvement because they know everything before the characters know who's what and who is going where and what is happening. So that's really exciting about a farce. And that's kind of the essence of what a farce is. It's characters, stories, situations. That's really fun to present to the audience. But Cathy and I, Sister Augusta and I, we are just kind of doing our best to clean up the convent, make everything happen as all this craziness is happening around us.
So as the center of the action in this play, because a farce always has to have a really good center around which everything else flows, you guys are, despite the idea of making wine to keep the convent going, that's your secret, but everything else revolves around those two nuns.
I think that's a fair statement. You'll see when you attend that there's a lot of interplay between characters, and there's some final reveals that happen in the very last scene that are surprising to everybody on stage.
Two characters, Paul and Sally, the reporters in the story, are former fiancés, which puts them in a situation that is difficult for them because they were formerly engaged. Now they're undercover as a priest and nun who can't have that kind of relationship. So that must be fun by itself.
That's exactly right. And additionally, you have extra secret characters that they become. So that adds to the chaos. There's also a large trunk on stage, which one of the characters gets to hide in and out of multiple times. Again, that's the essence of a farce. And it's hard for us as performers to remember which character are you, when and where, as the characters are changing characters.
Right, got it. So tell me a little bit about the physicality of this show, because farces are very physical.
We've got this 2.5 page action sequence. That's kind of our warm up every night. We call it our Scooby-Doo. So it is pure action on stage. Again, referring back to the doors, we're running in and out of doors, catching people doing this and that and running around hiding wine bottles. So it is very physical, very fast paced, and we're definitely tired at the end of rehearsal.
So, Cathy, is there something that you look forward to every night now in rehearsal and you're thinking about what you're going to do that night? Is there something that you look forward to every evening?
Well, I think one of the great joys for me is the teamwork that is involved with a show such as this. Every theater production involves teamwork, but with a farce, there's a higher degree of that. We have the opportunity to work with some great experienced actors. One of our actors is very new and is a couple of first timers to Keizer Homegrown. And so, really, the relationships that are formed when we're not rehearsing just come out better because we weave those things together in our pre rehearsal time. It comes out well in our character development and just a lot of fun. I guess that's a silly word to use so much, but we have a great time together putting together some good theater for our audiences.
Well, it looks like you've got a pretty tight cast. In addition to you and Laura, Tavis Evans, Jennifer Johnson, Robert Condren, Natalie Reed Holbrook, Valerie Mazzina, and a newcomer to Keizer Homegrown Theatre, Doug Wentz, are in this cast. Now, Keizer Homegrown cast shows a little bit differently than the majority of theaters here in the Mid-Valley. Keizer Homegrown has auditions early in the year to cast all the shows in the season. Tell me a little bit about how that goes for you guys when you're auditioning for shows at Keizer Homegrown.
Yeah, so they started the audition process. It was in December. And as you said, they cast for the whole season. What I enjoy about that, particularly, we were able to get our cast together, do our table read, which is our first gathering of the cast, reading the script. That was right after the auditions and when we were cast. So we had scripts in hand, I want to say, and our first read through was end of December, first part of January. And there was a show before us on stage. So we had a lot of time with script in hands to become familiar with our characters, the story, our lines. So when we were able to actually get on stage and start blocking and working it, we had a very solid foundation to start the show. And as we mentioned before with a farce, it's very physical. So to be able to get scripts out of your hands and to focus on that physicality is super important. And again, this cast is amazing. And it's wonderful to note that the cast members come from all production companies within the Mid-Willamette Valley. We've got people from Albany, from Gallery, from Brush Creek, new to Keizer, Pinnacle. So it's a wonderful blend, very strong cast. And again, just to be able to get on stage and hit it running with the scripts out of hands and just starting that physicality was just a great way to start rehearsals.
I agree with Laura. And this is my third season auditioning with Keizer Homegrown. And I like being able to know what I'm cast in for the next year. For someone such as myself, who I look at other theaters and what they're putting on and what roles might be available for me, I like having that flexibility. So I do like the way Keizer Homegrown does that.
What's the biggest advantage for you in being cast or in going to an audition at the beginning of the entire season?
Well, I would say it's efficient because I was auditioning for 2 shows and being able to get them done on the same day. And for me, as being an out-of-towner, it was just very efficient to be able to do that all in one place.
Normally, the director of the show joins us for our interviews here on KMUZ Theater Talk, and the director is Jeff Minden. Problem is, he's out of the country right now. So I want to ask you guys if you can fill us in a little bit about his vision for the show and what that has brought to this particular script.
No, this show is just all about having a good belly laugh. And Jeff has this ability to let us run a scene and instantly see where We can add to our character, add to those belly laughs, do things. We did one simple thing with moving a prop piece on stage and utilizing that multiple times to enhance the scene. So that is amazing. He comes in again with a great vision of the set and set design. And he's just wonderful to work with as a performer, to really encourage you, again, to see the character, to see where it can grow. And he allows us to do that. So that is very enjoyable as a performer.
So you guys still have a couple of weeks to go before opening. How are rehearsals going for you guys every night? I'm sure you're probably discovering new things along the way every evening.
Absolutely. We're working on our timing. We're working on line delivery just to get it perfect and maximize the potential for humor and irony. So there's a lot of great things happening at this point in our rehearsal process. Our set is largely done. The doors are fully operational. Our trunk that we use still has a few details to be worked out on, but things are looking pretty good.
As we've added our costume pieces, and our costumer is Jerry, wonderful, just to be able to get in our nun outfits and to feel that and to be on stage and move. I wanted to be dressed up like the flying nun, but no one was going for that.
I know. It's a sad thing. They didn't want to give us the same whipple that Sally Fields wore.
We need to go back and fight for that, Sister Augusta, don't we?
Sister Philomena, it may be too late. Just saying.
No, we can still do it.
Just going in and out of doors apace would be a challenge with a wider wimple.
Oh, you're right.
We can make it work. We could make it work.
What have been the biggest challenges working as the cast of characters that comes with a show like this?
I think because the 8 cast members are sort of in couples as far as relationships, it gives us that great opportunity to collaborate with our teammate. I've always wanted to be in a show with Laura Davis, and I finally have had my opportunity. And not only that, but we're paired up as a team. And so we are learning how to create our characters together and have them contrast with each other in a beautiful way.
And again, it gets back to the whole idea of farce and all the doors and really getting our timing down for those quick entrances and exits. And yes, working together in your pair to make sure you get your timing and get that fast-paced stage presence really clicking.
Cathy and Laura, what do you hope the audience is going to be surprised by when they come and see this show?
I think it's just the big reveals at the end. And that, again, gets back to what a farce is. Again, the audience has been a part of and included in all of these secrets when the characters on stage have not been. So it's a reveal that the audience already knows, but we as characters on stage don't know. So I think the audience is a part of the big reveal to us, but there's also some extra little twist right at the end that the audience doesn't know. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I think our theater friends are looking for just a great time where you can sort of suspend disbelief and embrace this whole concept of nuns secretly making wine. It'll just increase their enjoyment. I think it's a great time to put on a farce like this for people in the Mid-Valley to sort of escape their everyday worries and just have a good night of theater.
We really need that these days, don't we? I mean, there's enough going on in the world and in the news and in the economy, and we ought to be able to just sit in a darkened room and have a few laughs and marvel at the physicality of what it is to be an actor in a farce.
And this is actually my first farce that I've ever been in as an actor.
Really?
I've done a lot of dramatic work recently and some comedy, but I wanted to challenge myself to be involved in a farce where I could just add to my acting repertoire and enjoy working closely with a cast to produce something very entertaining.
Well, that's great. So what have you learned along the way?
to let myself go, I guess.
There you go.
I tend to be more of a controlled actor. And with a farce, it's okay to cheat out to the audience. It's okay to say lines broadly. It's okay to involve my whole body in my character. And so that's what's been really fun for me.
We are just two goofballs on stage and we enjoy each other. We play off each other. And that's the fun of it. That is what gets me excited going there and working, because we're two giggling nuns, really. And we have a blast. And that also is, what I want the audience to walk away from too. Just you've had a laugh with these characters, you're having fun working on stage with someone like Cathy and just being able to feel comfortable and be silly and goofy. And that's just fantastic. We want you just to kind of leave the everyday stresses of the world for a few hours. Don't take yourself seriously. Come in, enjoy, have fun, laugh with us. My friends and family can't believe I'm playing a winemaking nun.
Well, folks, Drinking Habits, a comedy by Tom Smith and directed by Jeff Minden, runs April 11th through 27th at Keizer Homegrown Theatre. And you can get your tickets at keizerhomegrowntheatre.org. This is going to be a really fun evening. Don't we all need that right now? Accusations, mistaken identities, romances that run wild, nuns from the Sisters of Perpetual Sowing who are secretly making wine to keep the convent's doors open, and much, much more. Really, folks, by the time this show ends, wine and secrets are inevitably spilled by everyone on stage trying to save the convent and reconnect with their lost loves. We've been talking with Laura Davis and Cathy Willoughby from Keizer Homegrown Theatre. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining me here on KMUZ Theater Talk.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. We appreciate it.
It's time to wind up today's KMUZ Theater Talk program. Thanks a million for listening. KMUZ Theater Talk comes your way at 9 a.m. the first and third Friday of the month on KMUZ at 100.7 and 88.5 FM. Also on KMWV FM Dallas at 98.3 HD2 and streaming worldwide at kmuz.org and on the KMUZ mobile app. And if you'd like to share our program with your friends and hear more behind-the-curtain interviews, go to your favorite podcast app and subscribe to KMUZ Theater Talk. I'll be back on April 18th with a brand new KMUZ Theater Talk program. Meanwhile, see the KMUZ Theater Talk Facebook page for news and updates about live theater in the Mid-Willamette Valley. Next Friday at 9 a.m. on KMUZ 100.7 FM, you can hear Talking About Art with Joel Zack. KMUZ Theater Talk is proud to partner with the Mid-Valley Theater Network and with Press Play Salem. Until next time, I'll see you in the front row.